The nightclub rocks with music while everyone's having fun. A fun guy and his chick head to the restroom to have a fun time together. The guy wants to play some games, but the chick is worried that someone might open the door and walk in on them. She suggests that they lock the door, but the guy reminds her that club restroom doors have no lock. Her fear comes to pass when a drunk guy walks in on them. The drunk guy apologizes for the interference and leaves. Meanwhile, the drunk guy came to the club with the three of his friends. Even though he leaves, the image of the fun guy and the chick doing the thing cannot leave his head. The four also have girls in their corners with them, but the girls are proving difficult. The guys want to have a good time, but the girls are not down for that because the four guys are millennials and not the fun Gen Z they are used to. There is a particular guy among the four friends, Seungtae, who is also not really into what they are doing. He just wants to have his drink and have fun, that's all. The drunk guy from the restroom finally gets tired of the girls' shenanigans, and he suggests that they also have fun just like the guys he stumbled upon in the restroom. However, the girls just leave in anger. After the girls are gone, the guy tells his friends that they need to tip the waiter so that they can get girls who are willing to get down with them. Without wasting time, they ruffle a currency note to the waiter to get the job done, while the guys wonder if their friend is telling the truth about the restroom saga. The waiter waits no time in getting the job done, and he secures two ladies for the guys. Meanwhile, Seungtae is already sleeping from having too much to drink when the girls walk in. Even though the girls are not really into the so-called old men, they still decide to sit down and talk with them. The girls reveal that they also came with their friends to the nightclub. While the girls are discussing with the guys, Seungtae finally wakes up from sleep. This is where things start to get real, because immediately he raises his head from the table. One of the girls, Juha, recognizes him. Juha calls him Teacher Seungtae, and she lets him know that another of their friends, Sumin, is also in the club with them. Seungtae cannot believe his eyes because the girls shouldn't be in the club since they are freaking high schoolers. All he could ask is who allowed them into the club since they are basically kids. To get into the context of the entire thing, 7 months ago, 28-year-old Seungtae rolled up at a girls' high school. He is on the verge of receiving his college degree, but he needs to take a teaching job as practice before he can get his degree. Even though our guy doesn't like teaching, he has no choice. The moment he is introduced to the class, the entire population of girls goes wild for him. The girls waste no time in showing their interest in Seungtae. Seungtae soon finds himself surrounded by them. Seungtae already has the feeling that something like this might happen, but didn't think it would happen so fast. Amidst the chaos and frustration, Seungtae notices that there are 3 particular friends who have banging bodies and don't look like they are high schoolers. These are Juha and her 2 friends, Sumin and Songa. During his stay in the school, Juha developed an interest in Seungtae, but the guy didn't allow the interest to grow before leaving. Now, in the present day in the nightclub, Seungtae cannot believe that he is staring at Juha. He is still trying to process the entire thing when Juha lets him know that she missed him so much after he finished his teaching practice and left. Things start to get weird in the room as Juha moves closer to Seungtae, leaving his friends wondering what the hell is going on. Juha is ready to get down with Seungtae in the room, which leaves him totally perplexed. Seungtae is shocked that the girls are not running away, even though they stumbled upon their teacher in a nightclub. In the midst of the entire chaos, Sumin also enters, leaving Seungtae totally bummed out. He now has 3 girls on his hands, and he has to look after them. Seungtae knows that his friends will waste no time jumping on any opportunity they get with the girls. Out of nowhere, the girls check out their phones to know what the time is. It is finally 12 a.m., and they jump up in joy because they are finally 20 years old. They now consider themselves adults, and with this, they are free to do what they want, but Seungtae is all the more worried. Juha and his friends immediately start drinking, and they suggest other fun things to do, like karaoke. While all of this is going on, Seungtae's friends can only imagine what they could do to the girls. Seungtae knows that care needs to be taken, or else the inevitable will happen before they know it. Seungtae thinks of stopping the girls, but doesn't know how. Meanwhile, his friends are already planning on how to take a motel room and have a blast with the unsuspecting girls. The fun continues, and the guys impress the girls with how much they can drink. They suggest mixing the drinks with soju at a ratio of 1:1 to avoid vomiting. Seungtae knows their plan, and he tries telling his friends to keep it on a low, but instead of doing this, they increase the intensity of the drinking. He becomes seriously worried, and he wants to prevent this before things get too late. At this point, the guys are already asking the girls where they are staying. The friends do their best to make sure that the girls have enough to drink to get them loose. Seungtae, on the other hand, tries his best not to drink so he can keep his eyes on the girls. However, Juha finds a way to push him to drink while his friends urge him on because of what they plan to do. Seungtae finally gets down to drinking with the group. Juha suggests that they have a love shot, but our guy gulps his drink to avoid drama. This only causes Juha to get mad, and she starts gulping the drinks like they are water. Before they know it, the drinks start to kick in, and they are all getting drunk. Our main guy thinks of getting the girls home, but before he can finish this thought, he falls asleep with his other friends staring down at him. Seungtae is bad with strong drinks, which is why he totally got knocked out. When Seungtae wakes up, he finds himself in a motel room with no clothes on. He starts to wonder how he got to a motel room and why he is there in the first place. This is where it dawns on him that things must have gotten out of hand. He seems to be alone in the room, and the girls are nowhere to be found, which also includes his friends. Seungtae quickly picks up his phone to call one of his friends, Kwang Nam, but he refuses to pick up. Seungtae starts getting the feeling that his friends are currently somewhere, hitting it off with the girls. He tries calling another friend, Jungpyo, and this time, Jungpyo picks up. Seungtae is relieved to hear Jungpyo's voice, but suddenly, Seungtae realizes that Jungpyo is in the middle of a stroking session. Seungtae hears a familiar female voice on the phone. Jungpyo is shocked that Seungtae is already awake and sober all of a sudden. Seungtae asks Jungpyo who he is currently with, but the guy refuses to answer and just drops the call, leaving Seungtae racking his brain. Seungtae is totally angry and he tosses away his phone. He thinks of finding the girls, but he doesn't know where to start from. Suddenly, Seungtae realizes that there is a woman's underwear in the room with him. Before he can fully assess the situation, Songa comes out of the bathroom fully undressed and surprised that the teacher is now awake. The situation gets terribly awkward as Seungtae stares down at Songa in total disbelief. The first question Songa asks Seungtae is when he got up before she finally realizes that she is unclothed. She bends to cover herself while telling Seungtae not to look. In the process of adjusting, Seungtae trips, and as he falls down, Songa tries helping him, but ends up falling on him too. They were only trying to avoid looking, but are now down to body contacts before they know it. All of Songa's tempting body parts are wrapped around Seungtae. The two manage to get off each other after a moment of awkwardness. Seungtae starts to wonder how Songa ended up in the same room with him. It finally dawns on Seungtae that he had too much to drink and was knocked out. The last thing he remembers is having a drink in the bar. Seungtae then asks Songa why she is still not dressed. Songa reveals that she cannot because of what happened. Seungtae has no memory of what happened, forcing Songa to give him a full recap of how they ended up in the motel room and what transpired while he was drunk. After having so much to drink and the group left the bar, Kwangnam offers to take Songa home, but she refuses. On her way home, she finds Seungtae totally knocked out in the street while hugging a can. Songa could not leave her teacher this way, and she managed to drag him to the motel room since they couldn't even get a taxi to help. Seungtae is still acting all grateful for Songa's help, until he realizes that something must have gone south for him to be lying unclothed. This is when Songa is forced to reveal the horrifying truth. Seungtae was so drunk that he mistook Songa for someone else, Hyungjung. He suddenly dragged Songa closer, locked lips with her, and got down to touch her body. Even Songa couldn't resist, and before they knew it, Seungtae had gone into Songa, even if it was just for a short moment. After a short moment of fun, Songa washed all of her clothes, which is why she now has nothing to wear. Upon hearing the full recap of everything, Seungtae is highly disappointed in himself, even though he doesn't even remember doing any of it. Seungtae still sees Songa as a kid and his student to top it all off. Seungtae apologizes to the girl, letting her know that he had too much to drink, which is why he ultimately misbehaved. To further give Seungtae a context of what happened, Songa lets him know that he left the bar himself. Juha escorted him a bit before locking lips with him in front of everyone, making his friends ultimately jealous. One of his friends even considers going back to college so he can become a teacher and also enjoy the privilege that Seungtae is enjoying. After the kiss, Seungtae leaves without looking back, but even he doesn't remember all of these. Seungtae just knows with everything he is going to hear from Songa, things are going to get worse every minute. When Seungtae asks about Songa's friends, the reply he gets lets him know that the voice he heard on the phone earlier with Jungpyo is none other than Juha. Seungtae is absolutely horrified at what is currently happening, and to even make it worse, Songa lets him know that Sumin was the most drunk of them all. Since she was very drunk, Seungtae's friend Bongkyu was the one who quickly offered to take her home. Seungtae screams out in horror because Bongkyu is the worst of them all. Seungtae realizes that he cannot even blame the girls, since they are still kids and they are totally naive. It is now clear to him that Jungpyo is with Juha while Sumin is with Bongkyu. Seungtae gives Bongkyu the benefit of the doubt, hoping that the guy doesn't do anything rash. Unknown to him, Bongkyu is in a motel with Sumin. Bongkyu lays Sumin to sleep, but he remains restless. Bongkyu contemplates touching the sleeping girl but tries to resist, even though he is hard. Bongkyu stands in the room like a total creep, staring down at Sumin as she sleeps.